up as a kid, yeah. All a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from.
What is up, everybody? It's JT Sports. I'm at you guys with another video. This video, I'm here with my Carolina Panthers 2020 quarterback preview. Going to be previewing all of the quarterbacks currently on the Carolina Panthers roster. And before I get into it, make sure that you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Upload NFL videos and NFL content daily. And also make sure to go ahead and share this video on your social media pages, Twitter, Facebook, with your friends, family, and acquaintances. I have a 10,000 subscriber goal, which I'm really close to reaching. And by you guys sharing the video and subscribing to the channel, you help me become one subscriber close of reaching my goal of 10K subscribers. So when we look at this Carolina Panthers quarterback room, we got to start off with Teddy Bridgewater, who is projected and most likely will be the starting quarterback for the Carolina Panthers week 1 unless something traumatic happens. Now, Teddy Bridgewater started 5 games for the New Orleans Saints last year when Drew Brees was absent due to injury. And he was 5-0. He threw for 9 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, completing 67% of his passes, and he threw for 1,384 passing yards. Now, what Teddy Bridgewater isn't the greatest quarterback in the world, but what Teddy Bridgewater is a great leader, and he's a winner. Everywhere that Teddy Bridgewater has went, he's won. In Minnesota, he took them to the playoffs. In New Orleans, when Drew Brees was out, they were 5-0. So Teddy Bridgewater isn't great, but I mean, you can win a Super Bowl with Teddy Bridgewater. Is Teddy Bridgewater a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? No, he's not. But he's accurate, he's smart with the football, and he also has a little bit of mobility and a little bit of athleticism to extend plays, keep plays alive, and, pick up 5 or 6 yards on the ground if need be. And Teddy Bridgewater reminds me a lot of Alex Smith. When you look at Teddy Bridgewater, a lot of people always say Teddy Bridgewater doesn't throw the football downfield. There's nothing wrong with that. Alex Smith did it back in Kansas City. It won him games, and Teddy Bridgewater had a lot of success with his playing style. So, I mean, I think Teddy Bridgewater is on a 3-year deal worth $60-something million. So, basically, Teddy Bridgewater is auditioning to be the franchise quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. And the reason why I say that is because Teddy Bridgewater's deal is dirt cheap. When you look at how the quarterback market is going, like Ryan Tannehill is making like $130-something million. Look at all the guys that are getting paid all this big money. You got average quarterbacks getting paid over $100 million. Meanwhile, you got Teddy Bridgewater on a 3-year deal worth like $60-something million. That's chunk change considering what the quarterback market is right now. So, I mean, I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to be capable of having success in Carolina. And you look at Joe Brady as his offensive coordinator, I think that's a perfect fit because Joe Brady is a guy who, is just dialing up deep passes every single play. Like, Joe Brady's system is dictated by route combinations and what wide receivers are able to do after the catch. And the Carolina Panthers have a great group of wide receivers that's able to take a 5-yard check down pass from Teddy Bridgewater to a 60-yard touchdown. DJ Moore, who had a breakout year, Curtis Samuel. And when I'm talking about the Carolina Panthers wide receiver group, make sure that you guys go ahead and check out my Carolina Panthers 2020 wide receiver preview that I just did the other day, if you're interested in seeing my perspective on the Carolina Panthers receivers. So make sure to go ahead and check that out. It should be a card popping up. But back to the quarterback. So, I mean, I think Teddy Bridgewater is good enough to be the guy moving forward for the Carolina Panthers. And if he doesn't have a great season or the Carolina Panthers feel like they could upgrade from Teddy Bridgewater, then you go ahead, draft a guy like a Justin Fields, a Trey Lance, or a Trevor Lawrence, and then you can just release Teddy Bridgewater, let him play 1 more year, and then when the next guy up is ready to start, you go ahead and release Teddy Bridgewater because he's playing on a cheap contract considering the quarterback market, so you can release him and not have to suffer a big cap penalty. Now, the next guy is P.J. Walker. Now, P.J. Walker played in the XFL. He had 1,238 passing yards, 15 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions, and completed 65% of his passes. Now, P.J. Walker was miles and miles ahead of every quarterback in the XFL. He's accurate, doesn't turn the football over that much, and has a lot of athleticism. Now, I think P.J. Walker has a good chance of being the quarterback of the future for the Carolina Panthers. He played for Matt Rule in college, and he had 8 offers from several NFL teams. But he decided to play with the Carolina Panthers. I don't think he would sign with the Carolina Panthers if he didn't think and Matt Rule didn't, discuss his opportunity to maybe become the starter in the long term for the Carolina Panthers. You also got to look at this. Everybody says P.J. Walker went undrafted. He went undrafted a couple of years back. P.J. Walker is not the same quarterback he was when he first entered the NFL. A lot of people act like you can't get better. Like a lot of people act like you just stay the same. P.J. Walker is a better quarterback now than what he was back then when he went undrafted. Then a lot of people say, oh, he played in the XFL. The XFL is a bunch of NFL rejects. The XFL is full of CFL players who are really good in the CFL, 8-year NFL vets. The XFL is probably the second best professional football league in the world behind the NFL. It's better than the CFL. It's better than the indoor football league. So P.J. Walker was playing against some really stiff competition. So the XFL isn't just full of NFL rejects. You had guys who played in college football that looked to try to get drafted by playing in the XFL, like Kenny Robinson, who also is on the Carolina Panthers roster, who decided to, instead of, transferring and sitting out a year due to academic issues, he decided to not enter the transfer portal and decided to enter the XFL, and he ended up making it to the NFL by getting drafted in the 5th round by the Carolina Panthers. So that just goes to show you that the XFL just isn't full of NFL rejects. And the XFL is really talented. And a lot of people keep saying it's college football teams that would smash any team in the XFL. No, it's not. I think that's a dumb statement and a really ignorant statement. If you think that a bunch of 18, 19-year-old kids are going to beat a team full of 29, 30-year-old, 7-year, 8-year NFL vets and CFL vets, I think that's a little bit dumb. So I think P.J. Walker, I'm not counting out P.J. Walker to be the quarterback of the future for the Carolina Panthers. I'm not saying that he will be, but I'm just saying don't sleep on P.J. Walker. And the last guy that we have Will Grier. Now, Will Grier had a really rough rookie season for the Panthers last year. In the 2 games that he started, he only threw for 228 passing yards, had 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and completed 53% of his passes. And Will Grier was a quarterback who I was heavily criticizing during the draft process last offseason. A lot of people got on me. A lot of Panthers fans, when they drafted Will Grier, said, oh, JC, you don't know what you're talking about, man. Will Grier was great in college. Look at his stats, blah, 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 blah. But if you're somebody like me and you actually watch the game of football and you just don't watch football from a casual standpoint, like you're breaking down, the games, the formations, the plays, the reads, everything, and the nuances of the game, you will know that Will Grier had a lot of things that he had to work on. He didn't have the greatest arm, and he wasn't all that accurate. And what happened? Well, those, things came back to haunt him last season for the Carolina Panthers. And a lot of people can say that Will Grier didn't have a lot of talent, but that's not really true. I mean, you had Curtis Samuel, you had DJ Moore, you had a pretty good group of wide receivers. The offensive line wasn't great, but, you did have Chris McCaffrey in the backfield. So, Will Grier had weapons to throw the football, too. He just wasn't ready. He was just basically throwing in there like a duck with his head cut off or like a chicken with his head cut off, not really knowing what was going on. So, Will Grier remains to be seen how much he improves over the offseason, but really, it is a quarterback battle between P.J. Walker and Will Grier for that backup quarterback spot. But all in all, I don't think the Panthers are going to cut any of these guys. I don't think they're going to cut P.J. Walker. I don't think they're going to cut Will Grier because these guys are the only 3 quarterbacks that's on the roster since they traded away Kyle Allen to the Washington football team a couple of months ago. So, I don't see neither one of those guys getting cut. I see both of those guys making the roster, but I do think that P.J. Walker will start over Will Grier because I think P.J. Walker has a little bit more. I think he has more talent than Will Grier, and I think he has more potential. And I don't think Matt Rule would sign P.J. Walker, a guy who he coached in college, a guy who he saw mature into a man during his time playing for him in Temple, and just say, hey, man, I want you to sign for us and be our long-term backup. Like, I think P.J. Walker has a legitimate shot of being the Carolina Panthers quarterback of the future. So let me know what you guys think about the quarterback situation in Carolina. Do you guys feel like Teddy Bridgewater is a long-term solution or not? Do you think the Carolina Panthers will still draft another quarterback? Do you think P.J. Walker may be the quarterback of the future? Maybe the Carolina Panthers could go ahead and groom P.J. Walker. And another thing about P.J. Walker, like P.J. Walker is the equivalent to a first-round pick at quarterback. The Carolina Panthers basically you got to look at P.J. Walker as a quarterback prospect. If P.J. Walker would have entered the NFL draft, he would have been a first-round selection. So P.J. Walker is basically the equivalent of a first-round quarterback prospect who you got without wasting a draft pick on. So take that into perspective. He's a guy who you can groom and develop, and then when you're ready to get rid of Teddy Bridgewater, if Teddy Bridgewater isn't the guy, you go ahead and throw in PJ Walker. So that's it for this video. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.